advanced lineups, some learning. How have you seen them adjust and transition into that style?
It's been a typical first 2 days of practice, regardless of what we're running. We've kind of loaded them up with a lot of things, and for the most part, the retention on the field has been pretty good. We've had a lot of meeting time, a lot of film time, and a lot of preparation off the field, but especially with a late start on the calendar. So from an assignment standpoint, I think a lot of them know what they're doing, but we're busting a lot of assignments on the field when we're going full speed. I don't really feel like it has anything to do with the particular system we're running. It's just learning a new defense, learning new verbiage, learning a couple maybe different alignments and those type things. What short time we've had, and without pads, it's very difficult to make a legitimate, I guess, assessment, but I think we've got most of them in the right place. And as we progress into pads tomorrow and on into next week, I think maybe we'll find out a little more about them. But I think we made a couple of moves, like Justin Garrett moved out to the hybrid, and some other things like that, that I think some of these guys look like they're in the right place.
Because of the uniqueness of that position, do you see guys like Justin or others who are excited about that opportunity?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, he was a good inside linebacker, but he's one of the fastest ones we had. And same thing with Javier Mitchell. And we felt like those were the first two we wanted to look at out in space, as we call it. Also, we've got a junior college safety coming in, a big safety in Brandon King. We've got a couple of good high school players. Maybe they can be depth for us or even challenge. But we thought it was best to move somebody there in the spring and come out of spring feeling like that we didn't have to fix our depth chart in the fall. The guys that have moved out there seem to like it. They had a great attitude, got a little enthusiasm about it. It's a fun position to play. You know, a lot of blitzing. Have to cover it in space. There's some tough things too. Some very important jobs as far as playing man-to-man and third best receiver and those type things that they may not have been used to.
Javi is a guy that played defensive line for most of his life. How have you seen him kind of adjusting to playing on the back end for the first time?
Skill-wise, physically, he's been fine. Now, just a little technique, some of the things being comfortable in, you know, having a, I guess what you'd say, the natural instincts to play it. He seems like he's still kind of picking it up a little bit.
I know that you had some yesterday at least. You had Jake and Casanova out there together. Some are those two positions kind of interchangeable too?
They're somewhat interchangeable. They physically need to be about the same guy, the Mike and the Will. We asked the Mike to do a lot more of the quarterbacking of the defense. The Will probably has a lot more variation in his coverage drops. So both of them have their amount of complication, if you will. I've found that guys that talk and can communicate and do that, there's some guys that are better at that than others. Usually they end up being a Mike. The one thing that Will has to do a little bit more, he'll do a little more pass rush on blitzes. So those are two things that you have to look for that they've got to be able to do to play there. Right now, I'm rotating a three-way with Frost and McKenzie and Holland. And I'm trying to get Jake to double learn. He's the oldest one. And I'm doing the same thing with the second group. We've got Chris Landrum double learning. Just get through maybe 3 or 4 practices and see how that looks.
Chris had changed positions last year. Now he's back at linebacker. Did that just come from you just watching tape and saying and feeling like?
Yeah, and what I saw on tape, he was an inside backer.
Right.
What amount he did get to play last year, and I did recruit him out of high school as a junior. He's one player on this football team I saw as a high school player and actually recruited to South Carolina. But I think he fits. He's another one we thought about looking at the start, the hybrid. But felt like he was going to be better inside. What I've been impressed with him right now, he's physically very quick, but I've been really impressed. He talks. You know, even when he makes a mistake, now he's confident. And I say that, and I don't mean it in jest. You know, Coach Stalin used to have a saying, I can fix a wrong decision, but I can't do anything with no decision. And that's the thing about Mike linebacker got to talk. He's sitting up front. He's calling some of the blitzes that we do at the line of scrimmage. He's got to make a decision. And one thing I've seen about him now, he'll pull it real quick. He'll pull that trigger quickly and get us going.
Coach, what have you seen out of your D linemen the first 2 days, and what do you want to see immediately when you put the full pads on?
The one thing I see about them, and I see it almost in every position, I have never been at a college spring practice since the scholarship limits were changed, what, 15, 20 years ago. Never seen this many live bodies. Now, I'm not saying they're all players, we'll have to find out, but I'm talking about bodies. We are deep, and so there's a lot of competition. I think physically, size-wise, we're okay. I don't think we'll really know about the physical toughness at the point of attack and the edge rush until we really put the pads on. Rodney hasn't really said anything in particular about any one player standing out or being poor. That's the hard position to evaluate before we put on the pads. It's really hard to get a good feel for it. But I do like the fact we've got a lot of healthy bodies, got a lot of big guys, got a lot of rotation, got a lot of competition.
Coach, can you comment on Demetrius McNeil? He played a lot against the run and had to drop into the box a lot last year, and he said he's going to be playing the boundary safety. What went into that decision to move him to that spot?
Really, you answered the question. Our boundary corner and our boundary safety, because of the fact that we don't run defensive backs across the formation, what I call single width formations, when there's no wide outs to the boundary side, our boundary corner and boundary safety are very involved in fitting against the run. We drop the boundary safety in the box a lot. And boundary corner will be edging the box sometimes when people do not put a wide out into the boundary. So they both have to be our two more physical, size-wise, our two more physical defensive backs. You know, I've had sometimes like at Carolina, our big hitter back there was a free safety, Swearingen, but he wasn't the biggest and strongest. He made the big hits in the open field. But we had to have a 200-pound kid at the boundary corner and the boundary safety to be able to come down and fit the run.
He's a guy who's the most productive returning player on paper last season, the most tackles returning. He's the returning senior next season. He says he wants to be a leader. What have you seen so far, whether it be on the field the past couple of days or before meeting rooms and things like that, from him that he can be a leader?
He's been really good, and it's easy to tell his experience level. He picks up things quickly. And again, we're trying to talk about a defensive unit that hasn't put pads on yet, so I'm a little reserved on my comments about what they will be, what they can be. He seems to pick things up quickly and understands the flexibility of our defense, and has done a real good job. And hopefully he can be that guy. The only thing we're worried about is the shoulder, and it's healed up pretty good. He feels good about it.
You said Jake's working at Will. Who else is there?
Casanova.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got Frost and Casanova. I'm trying to keep them stay at Mike and Will for a while. They're the younger guys. I don't want to get them confused. Jake's a little older. I've got him right now trying to pick up both. And then I'm doing the same thing with the second group. Chris Landry, who has not actually been a defensive player that much, but he's picked things up pretty quickly in that second group. So I've got him playing a little bit of Mike and Will, with Darius Owens at the Will, and with Darius Owens at Mike and Anthony Swain at the Will. It's all in pencil now, and I don't mean to say that in any way not to be complimentary of our players. Right now, I'm really pleased with the effort. Their attitudes are good. They're trying to be like sponges. They're kind of hungry to learn something. They're taking a great attitude about that. Their effort's been good on the field. We got a long way to go, but in saying all that, our whole depth chart's in pencil. Nobody's really done anything right now to say that they're a starter.